Motobilt. We got Dan DuBose, which is very awesome, awesome. Dan.
Yeah.
I was kind of hiding it at first, but I was very excited to come down here. And of course, we got Jason Ingram, and so good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having
Glad you guys were able to make it down.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And we just kind of want to come down today and let some of our listeners know a little bit about Motobilt.
Right.
From a customer perspective, I know what I know is that when I get it, what I get at home is a great quality build.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got some of your bumpers. I've bought a couple of the bumpers, and they're always top notch. It's what I run on my rig right now, and hopefully later today I'll be buying another bumper from you. So if you could just tell our listeners a little bit about Motobilt, how it came to be, a little bit about you, your story with Motobilt, and just about the quality of the product.
Well, that's a long story. You said we were going to be doing this about 15 minutes, but
well, that's a long story. We'll
I'll
try
give you the Cliff Notes version of it.
Yeah, if we can,
well,
condense it.
I don't know, it really kind of started back in the mid-90s, building a lot of YJ parts for people while I was in college, and started building a name for myself. And around 2001, started a little business called Blue Torch Fab Works down in this area in Dothan, Alabama. And that business took off in the mid-2000s, and we were building, like competitive rock crawling stuff for like Team Red Bull and other, a lot of other tube buggy type things. And in 2009, sold that business and then took a 3-year break. And 2012, we started at Motobilt. And in the beginning, it was like, I'm not going to grow it too big. Just do it, part-time, have a little bit of fun with it. It's nice to be doing this stuff again. And well, the inner shark in me was like, it's time to go. So probably around 2014, we decided to take the brakes off of it and put in a real detailed plan as far as where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do. So here it is, year 2020, and we're in an 85,000 square foot building. We have about 36 employees currently and have a growth plan to roughly 75. We've recently invested heavily in technology with the Bystronic 10K fiber laser with all the automation, which that allows us to run 24 hours a day.
Oh yeah.
We've also invested in some real advanced press brakes to a couple things, pick up our speed and quality like you mentioned, and then we've been adding a lot of people over here in the welding booth area.
Yes, it looks like you got quite a few people over there.
The big thing about the quality is our team. Machines one thing, but if the machines are cutting a nice part and then we have people putting together product that don't take pride in their work, then that's not translated to the customer properly. So I'd really say, the past few years, just building the right team of people is really what it boils down to.
Yeah. Like, for example, the bumper, that order, I actually had a problem with the JK. The JK I bought, it already had the frame on the front cut off. It had a different type of bumper put on it before.
Right.
So the frame was cut back, and it already had the holes drilled. And so I said, well, I need to get a new bumper for it because I really didn't like the one that was there. I got rid of it and I ordered a Motobilt.
Yep.
But one of the things I was concerned about when I got the Motobilt bumper is it gonna bolt right up, because you remember when I had it. Yeah, it was just a kind of a mess. Put it on there, and it took maybe one hit with the rubber mallet on each side.
Yeah.
Everything lined up. The holes were perfect. Everything was spot on.
Yeah, that was the biggest concern.
Well, one of the things like with the frame shop bumper, before we started doing it, we heard concerns from customers. But one of the things too, we wanted to make it where if someone had a different brand frame shop bumper on the front, that we could make sure that, be very close on someone be able to remove that other product and put our branded product on there. So we did our homework on what was available in the market, and it seemed to us that most of the people making a frame shop bumper were using the same dimensions as far as how it bolted on. So we did look at that to try to alleviate the pain and make it where someone could pull another brand off and put ours on.
It was obvious. It was definitely obvious you did your homework. I mean, those holes were spot on. I mean, the bolts didn't have to be angled or anything. So I was just like thrilled with that. And I was like, this is great too, because this is I'm from Alabama, and this is like a like a homegrown product.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is really nice.
Well, I think as far as facility-wise and team, we can compete with anybody in the world as far as what we're doing.
Yeah.
We may not be the biggest yet, but I don't know of another shop in our industry that's like what we're putting together right now. We've had some customers call it the Motodome that come in here, so it's definitely big.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of real estate in here.
Yeah, we had a few people like bringing scooters and stuff like that to work, but because of workman's comp and OSHA issues, it's like, no, you guys can't do that. You're just going to have to walk.
It's a hike. It's a hike.
Well, in this building too, we have a sister company called Anvil Industrial Group. We do a lot of like large-scale structural fabrication for sawmills and things like that. So we'll have guys going out on site building, conveyors and things, but we do have some guys up in the front corner of the building doing a couple projects like that, but we stay fairly busy and quite a few sawmills here in the southeast region.
Oh yeah.
So,
that's good.
There's a few different things all happening in one, but I would say 90% of the building and usage of it is Motobilt. And when we first started looking at this building about a year ago, we were like, oh, this is huge. We don't need much of it. And then we started like laying out plans, and it's like, well, we may need another building just for Anvil.
Oh yeah.
So we've got some future expansion plans to add in powder coating and some machining operations and stuff over in this other room. We have a whole other room that you guys can't see from where we are. I mean, it's just inside that wall, but that's another 10,000 feet of heated and cooled space that we're looking at putting like turning and milling and that sort of stuff in.
Heck yeah. That's gonna be sweet. The powder coating is gonna be a nice touch for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we want that for some of the off-road products that we're doing, but also just from an industrial standpoint. Motobilt, we manufacture our own product line, and we've got a large number of SKUs right now. Some of those we do want to powder coat, but what a lot of people don't realize is we also manufacture for some of our major competitors. They'll send us their drawings, we'll manufacture from drawing to finished product and ship it out to them.
I did not know that.
And then we have some other people and some other vehicles like Toyota and stuff like that will manufacture their product line, and some of them we actually ship direct to their customer. Like we'll have pre-printed boxes from that particular, some of these companies will package the product, put all their invoices, all their stuff, and do shipping direct to the customer.
That's super cool. And I mean, the quality is definitely there to do that. I mean, there's like if I needed to outsource that or something, and Motobilt was picking that up, I wouldn't have any fear at all of the quality, the craftsmanship. I mean, I'm just saying, I got to say that because you need a Motobilt bumper if you don't have one, or any other parts. I mean,
definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a believer. 100%, man. I'm just telling you, because I've had your stuff. I've had it in a tree. I've had it in a rock. The whole deal. And installation again. Usually that's the thing. You'll get something and it's just off. This was. I mean, it really was spot on. So.
Well, we have, with any company and any product, we have some challenges from time to time with some of that type of thing with fitment and whatnot. But we do spend a extra bit of time trying to make sure it's right. Like the front half kit on this Jeep belongs to Charles. We've got a few people that have grown impatient waiting for it, but there's had to be some changes. It's got to work with a lot of different custom fab applications and things like that. So we've been a little bit slow coming to market with it, but when we get there with it,
it's like it's going to be worth the wait to me.
Right. Oh, yeah. So we're at the final stages of that right now. We recut some of the prototype parts yesterday. They'll be coming through the press brake area and back over here. So the one on Charles's will not come off. It's just the next prototype, the final prototype that we're putting together. It just has some small fit and finish things. There's a couple little things I wanted to change on the one for Charles, just to make it easier for some installation later for people. But that kind of circles back to what you're talking about. We try not to just think about the finished product. We try to think about what's the guy at home or in another shop or that has never seen that product. What are they going to be able to do with it?
And that Jason, he's Jeep. He does Jeep mechanic and operates stuff for a living. So I mean, if you had to install a lot of the Motobilt stuff, because I know you just kind of get the work funneled back there toward to you.
Yeah, we've put on a few products, a few bumpers and stuff. And the fitment definitely is. I have to commend you on your fitment, because I've used a lot of other higher end products. Fitment is always an issue with anybody. But so far I haven't had a single issue out of anything I put on y'all.
Well, that's awesome. That's good to hear. One thing, we have people that, we wish your bumpers were powder coated and that sort of thing. But there's kind of a trade-off in that. Like some people want to color match the bumper to their vehicle. We have a lot of people doing that. But But what a lot of the people at home don't realize, like some of the other competitors that'll put a wrinkle finish powder coat or some other coating on it, it's easy to take shortcuts on the finishing side of things when you don't see the raw material product.
You can cover up a lot of stuff with a powder coat.
Yeah, so for us to send a bare metal product, it takes more time. You hear the guys over there in the grinding and metal finishing area. That's a slow, tedious process, but when it leaves, it's right.
Oh yeah.
And
you can see it. You can see it all there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more difficult. It's more costly on our part to do that, but
it's more cost effective for the customer too to ship it bare still. It keeps the price point down for them, and also you don't have to worry about it getting damaged during shipping. So that's the last thing you want. You pay all that extra powder coat and you get to you and it's beat up.
well, some of it just kind of comes from, I guess, more of a hardcore off-road background, because I never wanted to powder coat anything because I was bashing it off of rocks. And
It's only gonna look pretty for so long anyway.
Yeah, that way I could scuff it back up and repaint it if I wanted to, but with powder, that's a little bit more problematic.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you guys got any other questions about what we've got going on?
One big question I had was just about the technology change. As you were telling us a little bit about your past and the things you've done in the past, what would you say is the biggest change in the approach to manufacturing technologically, say, when you started to now, when you're making YJ parts versus?
Well, I'm not sure if it's just technology, but with anybody starting in a business like this, a lot of them do it because they like to build something at home or in their shop. They're building one of something, and there's a bit of pride involved in that. Well, it's hard to make money building one of anything. Like, there's so much time involved, to custom fab something. And I spent years, custom fabbing, one-off type builds, this part, that part, whatever. But the main shift now is going from that to a production environment where we invest in the R&D, we take the time to design something that would be a viable product for like a 5 to 7 year range on the drawing. And then you may want to phase it out if it starts to slow down. But during that R&D process, you're constantly, working on new product that is done. So as that cycle evolves, you'll always have something new in the supply chain. But to facilitate that, we started with a plasma table and outsourcing laser work, and things are affected by speed of business. When you send a part off to another shop and waiting on them to get it back, you're kind of at their mercy on time to get it back. Well, we bought a plasma table to do prototyping with, many years ago, and we could speed up on our prototyping side of things, but that didn't help with production. And then as the company grew, we had a certain threshold that we wanted to get to on like a weekly or monthly outsourcing of laser goods. And immediately when we hit that threshold, we put a laser in the shop. And then, that laser was a CO2 laser, and it did really well for us. And then we spent close to 3 years running that thing all day, every day. A lot of times 6 days a week. But it didn't have the automation that this laser has. The old laser had shuttle tables. We had to manually load and unload each table, so that one sheet may run for an hour and 20 minutes, and then you have that time to unload the other table and put more material on. That's all good, but now when we switched to a 10K fiber laser, those hour and 20-minute run times went down to around the 16-minute to 20-minute range at the most. Like some of the ones, we ran quite a bit of 3/16, which is what our bumpers and body armor and stuff like that is. Yesterday we were running a lot of sheets. Most of them were in the 8 to 11-minute range. So that thing cuts them so fast you don't have time to manually unload. So that's where the automation comes into play. So as those cut parts shuttle out, they go back into the automation and it's automatically unloaded and put into a parts cassette.
And as it's rolling that one out, it's rolling a new sheet right back in there behind it.
As it's offloading that, it puts more material on the shuttle table, and it's able to keep running. So our beam on time, it takes 22 seconds to shuttle the table. So our beam on time, like we may miss about a minute to a minute and a half between shuttle exchanges. Whereas before, if they were still unloading the table, it might take an extra 5 or 10 minutes to get the other parts offloaded to get more material on to be able to shuttle it and do it again. So, before we might cut 10, 12 sheets in a day. Like some of the runs that we'll put in there that are probably 15 to 20 sheets on one particular production run. Those may run in 2.5 hours.
So production's just much faster.
Right.
Just, yeah,
So,
way better.
then also having the ability in the evenings to put material in there, load up programs that might be a 25 to 40 sheet run, and come back the following morning and all the parts are cut.
Yeah. All you gotta do is just figure out where to go. That's
Right.
Yeah.
So I got one question. What is your personal rig? When you're wheeling? What are you wheeling in?
I haven't been wheeling since 2009 when I told
No,
you.
no.
No. Well, my interests have changed a little bit. Like when I before years ago, I worked 7 days a week. If I wasn't at work, I'd be off at an event, going wheeling or something like that. Now that doesn't say that I don't enjoy it, but as far as my personal excitement for it, back in those days, it was the wheeling, it was like the custom fab.
Right.
But I think as I've grown and I've evolved, my interests have, rather than building a vehicle, has been building a business.
Right.
So that's where my focus has been. And I've also
So what was your last rig?
tube buggy.
Okay.
So I've got 2 different Jeeps. I have a JL that's built that's actually in Dothan. My son's driving it right now. And I've got a new Jeep Gladiator outside. The Gladiator, I do have some UD60s and a bunch of parts to build it with. And I do plan on taking it out to some events. But my focus right now is getting the business running in a way that we can take care of all these families that are represented.
Well, this is a large handful to have, man. So
Yeah. But I mean, like years ago, getting stressed and when business kind of gets in the way of the having fun part, that's no fun.
Right.
But now, a lot of times I try to leave here at 5 o'clock or maybe shortly after. I don't stay here till midnight like I did up until about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like quality of life and balance has changed also for me a lot. Weekends, I try to disengage from here if at all possible. There are some weekends we have to come and run the laser or do something, but for me personally, I've wanted to change my life. About 3 years ago, had a major heart attack. And doctors don't know why other than perhaps stress, because I slept very few hours per night. I worked 7 days a week. I was always here, and it was a big wake-up call.
Well, you built a hell of a company, man.
So,
A hell of a company.
Well, appreciate that.
Seriously. And,
We're just excited about the future, and the crew we have should double in size over the next probably 1.5 years. And what we're doing now with our manufactured goods will increase. Our job shop work and private label manufacturing will increase. And we've got a couple other product lines that we're not really going to discuss right now, but they'll probably be under a couple of different brand names that we'll launch from here as well.
Well, thank you so much for having us out. Really.
Well, visit anytime.
I appreciate it, man.
I'm looking forward to the future with y'all too, man.